Max Latin, a good friend as well as a fine trip to Scotland for me. I questioned his choice because Mary Stuart was 6 feet tall, but Max said I was his concept of Mary, and I was not his vision, so I thought about it and decided that if 6-foot Mary could feel so small and feminine that she could be called Birdie by her lover, I could think myself tall, and that's what I did. Well, the play ran successfully for 2 years, so it must have worked. Today, I'm going to have to think myself young, because I want to play one of my favorite scenes of my past roles. The confrontation between Mary and Queen Elizabeth in prison. It'll be a challenge, but I always enjoy that. And it will give me an opportunity to play with one of the finest young actresses of this generation, Zoe Caldwell. I have seen but a poor likeness, and yet I believe this is Elizabeth. I am Elizabeth. I have been here a long while already, it seems, so if it's your policy to keep me, shut me up, I can argue no more. No, I beg now. There is one I love in the north. You know that. And my life's there, my throne's there, my name to be defended. And I must lie here, darkened from news and from the sun, lie here impaled on a brain's agony, wondering sometime if I wear what they said me, a carrion thing in my desires. Can you understand this? I speak it too brokenly to be understood, but as you are a woman and I am, and our brightness falls soon enough at best, let me go. Let me have my life once more, and my dear health of mind again. For I rot away in my mind hearing what I think of myself. Some death tinge falls over one in prisons. It will grow worse, not better. I've known strong men shut up alone for years. It's not their hair that grows white only. They sicken within and scourge themselves. If you would think like a queen, this is no place for you. The brain taints here until all desires are alike. Be advised. Sign the application. Stay now a moment. I begin to glimpse behind this basilisk mask of yours. It was this you wanted from the first. That's what I wanted. All this while, some evils touched my life at every turn to cripple what I do. And now, why now, looking on you, I see it incarnate before me. It's not been my use to speak much or spend my time. How could I have been mistaken in you? You are not mistaken. I'm all women I must be. One's a young girl, young and harrowed as you are, who could weep to see you here. And one's a bitterness at what I've lost and can never have. And one's a basilisk you saw. The last stands guard, and I obey it. Lady, you came to Scotland a fixed and subtle enemy, more dangerous to me than you've ever known. This could not be borne, and I set myself to cull you out and down you are. And you take my life and love to avoid this threat. Nay, keep your life and your love too. The lords have brought a parchment for you to sign. Sign it and live. I will not. I can wait, and will not, because you play to lose. This trespass against God's right will be known. The nations will know it. Mine and yours, they will see you as I see you and pull you down. Child, I've studied this gambit before I play it. Each year, I will send this paper to you. Not signing, you will step from one cell to another. Step lower always, until you reach the last, forgotten. Forgotten among men, forgotten among causes. A wraith that cries to fallen gods in a generation that's lost your name. And suppose indeed you won within our lifetime, still looking down from the heavens and up from men around us. God's spies that watch the fall of great and little, they will find you out. I will wait for that. Wait longer than a life, till men and the times unscroll you. child? Are you gulled by the histories that men write and are never true? I'm careful of my name as you are, for this day and longer. It's not what happens that matters. It's not even what happens that's true, but what men believe to have happened. They'll believe the worst of you, the best of me. And it'll be true. For you and me. I've seen to this. And still I win. This evil track you've brought me on, cover it. Let it never be believed that a woman was a fiend. Oh yes, cover it deep and heap my infamy over it, lest men peer and catch sight of you as you wear and are. For myself, I know you to be an eater of dust. Still I win. I have been a woman. I have loved as a woman loves, lost as a woman loses. I have borne a son, and he will rule Scotland and England. You have no heir. A devil has no children. My God, you'll suffer for this. Yes, but still, that I can do. A woman can do that. Once more I ask you, and patiently, give up your throne. No, devil. My pride is stronger than yours, and my heart beats blood such as yours has never known. And in this dungeon I win, here, alone. Good night, then. Aye, good night. Seaton, you will not see your maids again, I think. It is said they bring you news from the north. I thank you for all kindness. Victoria Regina, the last and the most demanding of my queens. It was in 1935 that she first began to dominate my life. This engraving, signed by the Queen herself, was given to me by the cast and the crew after our 100th performance. We were destined to play more than 1,500 others. I became so identified in people's minds with the role that sometimes people would lose their heads and curtsy on meeting me. The challenge of this role was to progress, scene by scene, from a young princess at the beginning of the play to an old woman at the end. Of course, the makeup was a terribly important thing to work out. I once confided to Charles Lawton that I really didn't feel that my then tiny face could ever be made to resemble the full moon and the sagging cheeks of the old queen. And Charles, who was a master of makeup, character makeup, immediately remembered the device he'd used in his great film, Henry VIII. He said, you put some apple in both cheeks. Well, that was fine, easy as pie. But what Charles and I had forgotten was that a scene on the screen lasts 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and our Balmoral scene lasted 20 minutes. So I tried this for the first time at the dress rehearsal, and about halfway through, the apple disintegrated, and I swallowed it, leaving my queen quite sunken at the end of this scene. Well, in New York, a very famous makeup man came to help me and design a makeup. It took him 3/4 of an hour, and when I explained that the entr'acte would be 12 minutes, 5 of which I'd use for changing costume, the 7 for the makeup, he just threw up and left my own devices. And that was that I slapped on some red grease paint to make the flush, and I put some shadows down here and over the eyes, and some white over the lids to make them droopy, and some white in my brows and on my lashes, and then I put some cotton in my cheeks, plumpers, and I played it. Well, it worked. It was simple. It's important in acting to keep things simple. I sometimes say that I act by the process of elimination. I put everything in at first so that I won't be in danger of missing something exceptionally good. And then during rehearsals, and sometimes even in the first weeks of playing a part, I eliminate and refine. This is Queen Victoria when she first ascended the throne, and these are some of her ladies-in-waiting. Gilbert Miller, the producer, gave me those when I was playing. Queen Victoria, as written by Houseman in his play, was not a great queen. She wasn't a great intellectual. She was simply a woman who did the best she could. And that's the most excellent thing you can say of anyone. It's why I loved playing her. And I think it's why the people who came to see the play loved her too. After 4 years of Victoria Regina, when I put the play away for good, our son James came into our lives. Oh, those were glorious years. There were Charlie and me together and the children and meaningful work and great success. Well, the 30s and the terrible depression found their voice in some very important new playwrights: Lillian Hellman, Sidney Kingsley, Clifford Odets, William Saroyan. World War II and the Nazi danger got on everybody's mind, absorbed all our thinking. Lillian Hellman wrote Watch on the Rhine, and Bob Sherwood had The Lunts in There Should Be No Night, and I, for the first time in my life, did a play, not because I actually loved it, but because it had a message. It was Candle in the Wind by Maxwell Anderson. I should have listened to Charlie when he said, "You can't win a war with a bad play." Charlie went off to the army, but before he left, he said to me, "Helen, if you're still hankering to do a play that will stiffen people's backbones, why don't you do a play about a time when America was in a hell of a fix and we got ourselves out of it?" Well, that's how I came to The Civil War and to Harriet by Florence Ryerson and Colin Clements. Well, dear Bob Whitehead, it's very kind of you and generous of you to give your time to sit here and talk with me about the theater of the 40s and the 50s. I don't know anybody during those decades who did more to give the theater stature, and especially the American theater.
Well, I can't ask for anything more than you just said, Helen. But I was busy, anyway, and a lot of the time I was busy, as a matter of fact, was involved with you. And I look back on that with a great deal of pleasure and pride.
Thank you.
In fact, we did 3 plays together.
That's right.
The Mary Chase play.
Mrs. McThing, yes.
We did a Thornton Wilder together, The Skin of Our Teeth. And we did the Eugene O'Neill play, A Touch of the Poet.
And they were all 3 very exciting firsts for me. O'Neill's whole purpose in that play was to keep that woman, Nora, a background figure until the last few minutes. And I said I was going to upset the balance of the play by being on there and being watched.
No, as a matter of fact, you made the balance of the play, because the fact that it needed a big actress in the part, so that the fact that she was in the background remained a very potent element in the play and throughout the play, because finally, in the end of the play, she takes it over. It's one of those parts that had to have an actress of real size. Anyway, at the time, I finally talked you into doing it, and
I'm glad you won.
And when you talk about my having a part in the theaters of the 40s and the 50s, you had a much bigger part.
Oh, but I don't mean to turn this into... That you did of Arthur Miller, goodness, what you have done about our theater.
Well,
and Orpheus Descending, I was at your opening night of that, and that was a fine play.
As a matter of fact, I was at your opening night of Tennessee's Glass Menagerie in London. It seems that Lorette Taylor handed the part to you, Helen, and you're handing it on to somebody else now.
Yes, I am, because I saw Maureen Stapleton play it in a recent
revival. She's marvelous.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
And I've asked her. She's a very dear friend, and I have the same kind of warm admiration for her that I had in my early days for Lorette Taylor. I think they're both extraordinary actresses and beings. And so I've asked Maureen to do the telephone scene when Amanda's trying to sell, desperately
But I
trying to
thought you
sell.
played that magnificently anyway.
Well, thank you very much. So
Well, let's see if Maureen can make it then.
Ida Scott, this is Amanda Wingfield. We missed you at the DAR last Monday. Oh, first, I want to know, how's your sinus condition? Oh, it's come back? Well, you're just a Christian martyr. That's what you are. You're a Christian martyr. Listen, I was just going through my little red book, and I saw that your subscription to the Companion's about to expire. Just when that wonderful new serial by Bessie May Harp is starting. It's the first thing she's written since Honeymoon for Three. Now, that was unusual, wasn't it? This one's even lovelier. It's all about the horse he said on Long Island, and this debutante is thrown from the horse while taking him over the jumps at the regatta, and her spine is injured, and the only surgeon in the entire world that can keep her from being completely paralyzed is the man she's engaged to be married to. And he's tall, and he's blonde, and he's handsome. That's unusual too, isn't it? Oh, of course, he's not perfect. He has a weakness. He has the most terrible weakness in the entire world. He just drinks too much. Oh, honey, no. Don't let him burn. You run, take a look in the oven. I'll hold on. Why, that woman. You know what she did? She hung up on me.
Oh, thank you, Maureen. Oh, bless your heart.
Hi.
Now, aren't you going to say that was good?
It was marvelous.
Oh.
Listen, Maureen, really,
He's got an attitude, and he's just going to do it.
she's getting better each time she does it. Maureen, you should have seen Helen Hayes play it.
Isn't he? You know, honestly, I'd like to see you do that over and over again.
Until I get it right.
Now, look, say, Maureen, I want to tell you something. Before you came into the act here, I was talking to Helen about the fact that we'd done 3 shows together in the 50s. and they were all quite marvelously successful. And almost the same year as you and I did shows. So we did 3 shows.
Yes.
And they were almost all of them complete failures.
All of them. All 3.
You know, I was so fascinated with watching you because I know that you are a method actress. I know that it was, how many years? 10?
I think about 10.
That you worked with at the studio.
Yeah, okay.
And it stood you in such stead there in the Glass Menagerie when I saw you do it on the stage. And you know, I tried the 3rd time that I did it, that I was going into rehearsal with it. First I did it in London with John Gielgud, then I did it with Alan Schneider at the City Center to save the ballet or something. They needed the money, so I went in and did the Glass Menagerie for a couple of weeks. And then I was going to do it on that tour for the State Department in Europe. So I thought I have to get a fresh push at this. I don't know. I have to approach it differently. So I went and worked with Lee Strasberg. I asked him if he would, and he was most grateful because he said, I didn't like what you did at the City Center. Now I'm going to show you how to work, not thinking about how you're doing a thing, but what you're doing. Now you must throw it all away and let it all come from the truth that's within you. Your truth will show you how. But you know, I got absolutely lost. I couldn't find my own truth to start with, and when there were hints that maybe I had unearthed it, I didn't know what to do with it. I was absolutely lost because a whole lifetime had been spent learning to act another way. Now you have it, but to perfection.
I don't mean to totally disagree with you, but you don't act a different way. I mean, it's like the method, or so-called method, gets abused and misused. You can't go out on the stage and just feel, because there's nothing to rely on there. You have no base or no foundation. Well, I don't want to see you just feel all over the place.
That's startling coming from you because I always thought of you as the theater of today, and I'm a theater of yesterday, where I rely on technique, and that's under me like a firm platform when I go on the stage. You know, sometimes I've been told by co-workers and by directors, you know, that sort of don't look now, but your technique is showing. It's apt to peek out of my performances sometimes, and that's when I'm not very good and not very sure of myself.
Technique is not a dirty word.
Well, it became one. I thought it became a sort of one in the 50s. But I know one thing that happened. We almost lost a whole generation of fine actors who got scared to death because they didn't know anything to rely upon. They had a natural talent. They had found the truth within them, which is a part of the method. But they didn't know enough about how to communicate this night after night. And I think that we're just never going to have any more actors whose careers can endure as mine has all these years until we go back to discipline and a study in depth and with great tirelessness of our craft, and above all, not within ourselves, but outside of ourselves, of the world around us.
I agree with that. What I wanted to say simply is that the method was only another technique in any case. It was simply a technique for trying to find what compelled a play underneath the written text. What compels Shakespeare is so totally within the text, and so completely in the text, both in terms of the rhythm and the poetic values, and it's so completely expressed that you certainly cannot start by looking underneath it all. You better get the text right. A lot of the method just threw the text out and said, what is compelling this? What is motivating it? Now, certainly some of our plays, which were more, I suppose, influenced by some of the later plays in the 19th century, the Chekhov and plays of that kind, which do deal largely with subtext, were somehow helped by that kind of a study. Even O'Neill to some extent, because O'Neill was very subjective and psychological. But when you played O'Neill with the play that I produced, I didn't notice that you had to go doing any great psychological research. You found it, you found Nora, and your brilliance was unforgettable, Helen. And you may have thought your technique was showing. It was showing, and so was the whole human being that you played, and I can't tell you how much it meant to me and to the audience in general.
Jennifer Harmon and I are going to do a short scene from O'Neill's A Touch of the Poet. In this play, O'Neill asserts his final truth, that life's ultimate dignity is love. It doesn't matter whether the object is worthy or not. It's the capacity for love that's important. Access to the rheumatism. It has me destroyed this morning.
I told you 100 times to see the doctor.
We've no money for doctors. They're bad luck anyway. They bring death with them. Your father will be down soon. I've nice fresh eggs for his breakfast. He won't want them. You mean he'd have dropped too much taken last night. Well, small blame to him.
Last night? What night hasn't he?
Don't be hard on him. I had a note from Nealon about his bill. He says we have to settle by the end of the week or we'll get no more groceries.
Well, why didn't you pay him the end of last week? You told me you had the money set aside.
So I did. But Dickinson was tormenting your father about his feed bill for the mayor.
I might have known. The mayor comes first and she takes the food out of our mouths. The grand gentleman must have his thoroughbred to prance around on.
Oh, now where's the harm? It's his greatest pride. He'd be heartbroken if he had to sell her.
Yes, I know well he cares more for a horse than for us.
Don't say that. He has a great love for you, even if you do be provoking him all the time.
Oh, great love for me. God pity you, Ma.
And don't put on the brogue now. You know how he hates to hear you. And I do, too. There's no excuse not to cure yourself. Didn't he send you to school so you could learn to talk like a gentleman's daughter?
If he did, I wasn't there for long.
It was you insisted on leaving.
Because if he hadn't the pride and love for you not to live on, you slaving your heart out, I had that pride and love.
I know, Akusla, I know.
We can't afford a waitress. But he can afford a thoroughbred mare to prance around on and show himself off. He can afford a bar to keep. When if he had any decency, he'd do his part and tend the bar himself.
Him? A gentleman? 10 bar?
A gentleman? It's all right for the two of us out of our own pride to pretend to the world we believe that lie. But it's crazy for you to pretend to me.
That's no lie. He is a gentleman. Wasn't he born rich in a castle on a grand estate and educated in college? And wasn't he an officer in the Duke of Wellington's army?
All right, Mother. You can humor its craziness. But you'll never make me pretend to him I don't know the truth.
Don't talk as if you hated him. You ought to be ashamed.
I do hate him for the way he treats you. I heard him again last night raking up the past and blaming his ruin on his having to marry you.
It was the drink talking, not him.
It's you ought to be ashamed for not having more pride. You bear his insults as meek as a lamb. You keep on slaving for him when it's that that's made you old before your time. You can't much longer, I tell you. He's getting worse. You're gonna have to leave him.
I'll never. Now hold your pride.
You'd leave him today if you had any pride.
I've pride in my love for him. I've loved him since the day I first set eyes on him, and I'll love him till the day I die. God pity him, he's had to live all his life alone in the hell of pride. It's little you know of love, and you never will. For there's the same devil of pride in you that's in him, and it'll keep you from ever giving all of yourself. And that's what love is.
I could give all of myself if I wanted to.
If wanted to. Faith, it shows how little you know of love when you prate about ifs and want-tos. It's when you don't give a thought for all the ifs and want-tos in the world. It's when, if all the fires of hell was between you, you'd walk through them gladly to be with them and sing with joy at your own burning, if only his kiss was on your mouth. That's love. And I'm proud I've known the great sorrow and joy of it.
You're a strange woman, Mother. And a grand one.
As we came to the 60s in the theater, the television had siphoned off more of our audience, and the high cost of production discouraged anything but the tried and true. It was a really undistinguished period on the whole. I turned to new challenges, new audiences. In 1961, Armina Marshall and Lawrence Langner put together the Theatre Guild American Repertory Company. And we toured in 14 countries, a couple of dozen cities for the State Department in Europe. I appeared in Thornton Wilder's Skin of Our Teeth and in The Glass Menagerie. Everywhere we went, we found the interest in American playwrights voracious. I saw Tennessee William Sweetbird of Youth played in Serbian. I saw Albi Zoo Story in Turkish. Brilliant production, too. And we were met with standing ovations wherever we went. It was very proud-making, I must say. Later that year, we took the plays to South America, played 11 countries there. And then in 1965, Romney Brent and I went to the Orient, also for the State Department. This time, we played Hong Kong, Malaysia, the Philippines, Japan, Korea. It was there that I hitched up with the 8th Army, and I did some performances with 5 very talented soldier actors whose lives had been interrupted for 2 years by service in Korea. We played the hardship camps, and we toured around in a Jeep, and we did scenes from Arthur Miller and Edward Albee and Williams and Wilder. Oh, it was cold in that Jeep at 10 degrees. Well, anyway, there was a wonderful young soldier actor that played with me in Albee's American Dream, a scene. Today, I want to do that scene again because it's a favorite of mine, with a fine young actor, Stephen McCarthy. People don't say goodbye to old people because they think they'll frighten them. Lordy, if they only knew how awful hello sounds, or my, you're looking chipper, they wouldn't say those things either. Truth is, there isn't much you could say to old people that doesn't sound terrible.
Hi.
Come on up.
Hello there.
Oh, my. Are you the van man?
The what?
The van man. The van man. Have you come to take me away?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that daughter of mine, that jelly of a husband of hers. Did they finally call the van people to come and get me and take me away? Oh, they could have gotten rid of me long ago, if that's the way they feel. They should have set me up in business. They should have... I could have been in the fur business. I could have been a singer. But no, they wanted me around because they can't listen to each other. And old people are very good at listening. Old people don't like to talk. When you get old, you can't talk to people because they snap at you. When you get so old, they talk to you that way. That's why you become deaf, you see, so you won't hear people talking to you that way. And that's why you go and hide under the covers in a soft bed so you won't feel the whole house shaking from people talking to you that way. And that's why old people die eventually, because people talk to them that way. Well, I'm ready to go.
I tell you, I'm not the van man. I'm just looking for odd jobs.
Well, aren't you something?
Oh, thank you.
You don't sound enthusiastic.
Well, I'm used to it.
Yep. If I was 150 years younger, I could go for you myself.
Yes, I imagine so.
Will you look at those muscles?
Yes, they're quite good, aren't they?
Boy, they sure are. They natural?
Well, the basic structure was there, but I've done some work too. You know, in a gym.
Oh? Well, I bet you have. You know, you ought to be in the movies. Right up there on the silver screen. Yep, you ought to try out for the movies. I guess you've heard that before, though, huh?
Yes, I have.
Well, you ought to try out for the movies.
Well, actually, I may have a career there yet. I've lived out on the West Coast almost all my life. I've met a few people who might be able to help me. I'm not in too much of a hurry, though. I'm almost as young as I look.
Well, that's nice. Oh, will you look at that face?
Yes, it's quite good, isn't it? Clean cut, Midwest farm boy type. Almost insultingly good looking in a typically American way. Good profile, straight nose, honest eyes, a wonderful smile.
Yep. Boy, do you know what you are? You're the American dream. That's what you are. All those people out there, they don't know what they're talking about. You are the American dream.
Thanks.
Well, since you're not the van man, what are you doing here,
I'm looking for work.
What kind of work?
Oh, almost anything. Almost anything that pays, that is. I'll do almost anything for money.
Will you? Well, I wonder if there's anything you could do around here.
There might be. It looked to be a likely house.
Did it? Always looked rather unlikely to me, but then maybe you know better than I.
I can sense these things.
There might be something you could do around here. Stay there now. Don't come too close.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't mean I'd mind. I don't know whether I'd mind or not, but it wouldn't look good. It'd look awful.
Yes, I suppose so.
Stay there. Let me concentrate now. What could you do?
Anything, if there's money in it. Do you have any money?
Money? Oh, there's more money in this house than you'd know what to do with.
I'm not so sure.
Maybe not. Besides, I have money of my own.
You have?
Sure. Old people often have lots of money. More often than most people expect. Come here. I want to whisper to you. No, not too close.
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on, right there. Look, did you ever hear about that great big baking contest they run? You know, where all those ladies go out in a big barn and bake away?
I'm not sure.
Not so close. Well, I don't care whether you heard about it or not. The important thing is that I won it. First prize last year. It was in all the papers. Well, not under my own name, because I took a nom de boulanger. I call myself Uncle Henry.
Did you?
Why not? I didn't see why not. I look just as much like an old man as I look like an old woman. You don't want to know what I called it? What I won with?
What did you call it?
I called it Uncle Henry's Day-Old Cake.
It's a very nice name.
It was very simple, really. I just went out and bought a store-bought cake, and I kept it around for a while, and then I slipped it in unbeknownst to anybody. Simple.
You're a very resourceful person.
Pioneer stock.
Is all this true? Do you expect me to believe all this?
I don't care whether you believe it or not. It doesn't make any difference to me. All I know is that Uncle Henry's day-old cake won me 25,000 smackarolas.
$25,000?
On the loggerhead. Now, how do you like them apples? Jennifer Harmon and I met in 1966 when I joined the APA Phoenix Repertory Company. Repertory Company Theater and Off-Broadway Theater had really burgeoned in those 60s. And we looked to them more than we did even to the commercial theater for fine new playwrights and especially for fine revivals of good American and any kind of plays.
Well, you know, when you did Ma Fisher for us in George Kelly's The Show Off, what did we finally discover? That it was as long as Hamlet?
That's right. Somebody told me that it was the longest role ever written for a woman in the English language, and it's ironic, isn't it, that I gave up stardom, yearning for these small, easy roles, and then I ended going on a very difficult and rigorous tour with the show-off with that longest of roles.
Miss Hayes, you had a good time.
I did. I loved it. I loved it because I felt I'd come home. You know, I belonged from the beginning in comedy. Tears are not for me. I always wanted to have a go at all the fine comedy writers of America. And it was wonderful to play George Kelly and The Front Page and Harvey. Oh, I've really enjoyed these last years, ever since I got away from commercial theater and could choose my plays. You see, I just came like a homing pigeon to comedy. Very grateful for it.
And I suppose, too, you were back. Well, you were back in your home, America. I mean, you were doing American
plays. That's
plays.
what I said. I was doing American plays. You know, every career, whatever its height or its duration, has to pursue a central idea. I was pulled away from mine a few times, and I knew it. I wasn't fooled, though. I was happy doing Shakespeare and Shaw and Barry and Ennui. But I felt, well, as Stephen Benet did,